can be free. I take the weight on my shoulders. As I feel the sky come down on me. And I can't hold it much longer. Gotta let go so I can be free.
Whoa, this is weird. FC Live on a Tuesday. Scotty, Brad, and AJ. This is the first show we've ever done where no one is in the same place together.
It is. We had a Friday where Todd had the whooping cough and you were.
Yeah, but I was at AJ's.
But I was yourself, and he wasn't there.
True.
Yeah.
That's why I need someone to back me up. Okay, AJ, first off, how was everything? And who won first pitch, AJ Pierzynski or Todd Frazier? You have first shot since Todd's not on today.
How was it? First of all, you saw the ovation. Todd didn't get that. Second of all, look at this. I mean, when you throw it so hard, Lance Lynn can't catch it. I mean, clank, clank, right? I had the GoPro on. We'll get the footage hopefully today or tomorrow of the GoPro footage. Lance Lynn caught it. You know, I think Frazier had a real catcher catching. Lance volunteered to do it since he's a friend of the show. I out-veloed him for sure. I mean, it was a little bit outside, but Todd's was a little bit high. You know, 4.5 inches, Todd matters, as he says all the time. So, and then the last thing that really puts me over the top, I had this hat on, repping the brand. Guess what Todd didn't have on? Not one foul territory thing. So I automatically win the bet no matter what. Now, I was going to chuck it over the backstop, and I told everybody I'm going to chuck it over the backstop. And my wife told me that she wouldn't talk to me if I did that. So then I asked her how long, and she didn't give me an answer. Because if it was only like an hour or two, I would be like, oh, okay, maybe this is worth it. But she said a significant amount of time, so I couldn't do it.
Would you have received a significant suspension at home?
Yes, I would have received an Anthony Rendon suspension.
Yeah, but she's in Chicago right now. Is this like that's like I feel like you had some time. You could have still done it. I feel like you could have done it.
I warned the White Sox though, and they said as long as you hit the net. And I said, well, I was going to try and hit Jason Benetti up in the booth, but I'm like, you can't do it and hit the net. You got to do it. If you're going to do it, you got to launch it. And I don't think they were huge fans of that. So I figured but I surprised Lance. Lance goes, dude, I didn't know you were going to throw it that hard. And I said, listen, I told you I was going to bring it. I didn't tell you I was going to lay it in there. I told you I was going to let it eat. And I think it surprised him, as you could see by his glorious catch.
What was the grip?
Dead four seam, dude. Yank it straight down. I spider teched up before I went out there. Got some extra spin rate on it, you know, a little.
It would have been great if you did. That would have been tremendous. And I mean, it looked like he was using a new mitt or old hands, one of the two.
I think it was the old hands. It was Sebi Zavala's mitt. And the best line was he looks at it, you see him go like this, he goes, oh, it's Sebi's mitt. Of course I dropped it. And I'm like, well, I would have thought it was mine instead. But Sebi's a pretty good player, so I wouldn't mess with him like that. But thanks to Lance for doing it. Thank you, obviously, to the White Sox for the opportunity. It was a special day other than the game, which kind of went downhill in the fifth inning when the Giants hit 4 homers. But yeah, it was great. It was great. You know what? I got to sit down with Pedro Grifol, talk to him for a while, see a lot of the guys, talk to him. We obviously got Dylan Cease and Andrew Vaughn on, and just a great atmosphere.
I'm glad you didn't bet on that game, AJ.
Well, that was my lock of the day until Claudia, our producer, said it's too early and we can't get it out on social, so change it. And so instead I went to another one that ended up just as poorly. So who won me?
True. We'll get to those. Also, by the way, Brandon Woodruff, former Kratzy teammate.
Oh, for sure. Big
Hell
whoop.
Yeah. Joining us soon. And Andres Jimenez, who is baseball's newest $100 million man? Yeah, because Cronenworth, which we'll get to in a second, is not a hundo. Anyone been a hundo since Andres Giménez? I think he's
Not officially.
Yeah, so he's the newest $100 million man. And then Baseball America's Carlos Collazo is going to join us. AJ wants to ask him about the draft. I want to ask him about a starting pitching debut tonight on the Atlanta Braves side to see how I should bet. And I think we're also going to get some other prospect talk. Probably actually Kratz should ask him about Bryce Terang. He had a pretty good game for the Brew Crew, which we'll ask Brandon Woodruff as well. So let's lead the way here. Let's start with Jake Cronenworth. It was a couple days ago, but I want to get to it now because we haven't covered it yet. Cronenworth and then the contract negotiations with Brian Reynolds, who had a big-ass night. So for Cronenworth, 7 years, $80 million. And the Padres have basically everyone signed through like 2030 at this point. I don't know if this is necessarily a hot take, and I like Jake Cronenworth as a player quite a bit. Was it necessary because he had years left of control and he's a little bit of an older player? He's signed through 2030 now. So I'm just curious in your mind to get the perspective here from San Diego. I've been like one of the biggest fans of what San Diego's doing. Obviously, I picked them to win the World Series. I think Peter Seidler's a top, 3 owner in the game right now. He might be number 1 just based on the fact that they're making all the other small market teams look absolutely dumb and cheap as shit. So for me, I'm just wondering, you've done so many big things. This is a guy that's under team control already, and it's great to have everyone locked up. But if some of these guys don't pan out, it could look pretty ugly a few years from now, or is it just screw it, live like there's no tomorrow? What do you think about this signing, AJ?
I think it's a great signing for Jake. The Crone Zone, him and Don Orsillo can have jumbo jacks on their commercials every time he hits a home run. They give away jumbo jacks, so that's pretty cool. I don't get it from the Padres' point, kind of like what you said, Scott. Why? They've spent a lot of money. Now, listen, Jake Cronenworth has been a good player for him. He's playing first base now for him, and they know what he's going to make for the next 7 years. But I hope they're good. I really hope the Padres are good because they're going to have a hard time moving any of these guys if things go south. And it's a slippery slope. Yes, I applaud the Padres for spending all the money. I applaud any player that can make a lot of money. But, man, the Padres better be good because if they aren't, it's going to be a long till 2030 for them.
Is this a franchise player you lock up, Kratzy? Because I'm looking up. He's 29 years old already. So now you've got him deep into his 30s. I'm fine with that to some extent with certain players. Just a guy who is a bit of a late bloomer, it is, I think, a great deal for him. I mean, he's super, super rich off of this. And I'm usually on the player side of this conversation where I'm like, yeah, the team should sign this guy up. What are you doing, right? The only thing here is, age is a factor to an extent.
It is a factor. A franchise player, I don't know. Like, is Ozzie Albies a franchise player? Is Sean Murphy a franchise player? Other teams, the Braves and the Padres are kind of using the same model. Braves haven't done $300 million to 3 guys, but they're locking their team up for what it's going to be. And I think what the Crone Zone brings is a lot of versatility. And I think the value for the Padres comes in the fact that he can play shortstop. Hopefully he doesn't need to because Kim can play short, Xander can play short, Tatis plays short, but it gives the team. I agree with AJ. I don't think they needed to do this, but it's great for Crony. But it's not. It's more like a piece. I think they solidified his value because he will get better, and he is a mainstay in that lineup. When you think about just based on WAR, like if you have a 1 WAR every year, it's supposedly worth $7 million. Well, he's been more valuable than that, so technically it's a deal.
My thing is, though, just naturally most guys decline. I'm not trying to shit all over this deal, but I think there's actually a huge, huge key difference between what the Braves and the Padres are doing, Kratzy. The Padres are dishing out money to guys that are much older. So Ozzie Albies, his contract, I think, and I'll get it for you while we're chatting. I think it was like 7 years, $35 million or something. I'm fine with the player getting like his first richness, but at the same time, that is an absolute bargain for a player like that. So 2 weeks into the 2019 season, he signed an extension for 7 years, $35 million that takes him through the 2025 campaign, and they have options for $7 million each on Ozzie Albies in his absolute prime, 2026 and 2027. So that deal maxes out, if they want, at 9 years, $45 million, but it only gets him to age 30, which is really the age that Jake Cronenworth's new deal starts. That's my point is Albies young, Sean Murphy young. These guys are on the younger side compared to the players that the Pods have locked up. Even Machado, who we've been looking at as young for years, now it's a big-ass deal, but he's a franchise player. Bogarts is signed till he's $1 billion, till he's a great-great-grandfather. I'm just saying, with some of those deals, I think there's a massive age difference going on. And that isn't that still a factor here?
For sure. And AJ pointed to you when he said he's old, but doesn't it show more Doesn't it show more what $80 million really means to teams? Like, I think it was really a great example when Kingery signed for, what, $24 million? Like, people are like, oh, why did you need to lock him up for $24 million, never played in AAA? Like, I think what this deal shows is that $80 million to a team isn't that big a deal. Spread out over 7 years, we're good with it. I think that shows more of what the value of the dollar is in the game right now.
No, first of all, let me say two things. One, Scott, you stole my thunder with the younger. It had nothing to do with Cronenworth's age. It had to do with the fact that the Braves locked these guys up at a young age. Acuna, Harris, Olson, Murphy, Albies, all these guys they're locking up are young and they're in their core. That's why they're locking them up. Austin Riley, that's the difference to me, is they're locking these guys up at 24, 25. The Padres are locking these guys up at 30 for 10 years. And don't forget, they also have another guy that's a free agent really quickly. His name's Juan Soto. So do they have enough money to get Juan Soto back in the Padres uniform when he becomes a free agent?
I think they do. They definitely have enough money. I don't think you're pulling from the same pool of money. And that's what I'm saying with
it's only one big pool, though. There's only a certain amount of money, no matter how rich you are. No great businessman is willing to lose everything to win a World Series. I mean, there's still a business involved. I
agree. And if you're gonna put out money for Juan Soto, I think the value of $80 million to ownership is not what we think $80 million value is. Yes, they would love to have, a young guy locked up, but they've traded away all their young guys. And I think they're still in on Juan Soto. I think it would be, I don't think they'll get him. I think it's a stretch to think you could have $300 million guys and go after another 300 to possibly $400 million player. Like, that is crazy in my mind. Over that'll be $1.2 billion in 4 players.
Well, listen, they signed Erik Hosmer, remember, to the deal they signed him to? And they couldn't wait to trade him when they got Juan Soto. So, you say $80 million doesn't mean a lot, but it means something to the Padres, because why did they trade Erik Hosmer? They had a bona fide Gold Glove first baseman that could prove he could hit, and they couldn't wait to get rid of him. So money does mean something, and there's not an unlimited supply. I wish there was. I wish I had a money tree like Scott has in every shot we show of him with a tree behind him. It must be his money tree, because he loves the fake plants back there. But, man, teams don't have those like Scott.
Doesn't have audio either.
I know. Apparently, the money tree went out on audio.
So I think it's one of those things I would love, and they'll never let us have it, but I'd love to see the books.
Oh, please!
I'd love to see the books of where everybody's at, especially when you start talking about like a team like the Pirates and a dude like Brian Reynolds, who is in fuego, and now these reports are coming out about a possible $100 million deal from the Pirates. Like they might close the bridges. They might close the bridges if this actually becomes a real deal.
I hope they do. Pirates, pay the man. He's done nothing but be a good Pittsburgh Pirate since the day he's put on the uniform. What is there not to like? Versatility. He can hit 2 homers last night. It'd be the biggest contract I know in Pittsburgh Pirates history. But listen, pay the guy. He deserves it. He wants to be there. He said he wants to be there. Now, did he request a trade? Sure. But he requested a trade because he said, I want to be paid my fair value. And if you're not going to do it, I'll go somewhere else. But listen, I want to be a Pittsburgh Pirate. There's not a lot of those guys that say, I want to be with an organization. So pay the guy, give him his 106.75 like it's being reported. And it's a good deal for both sides, because the Pirates fans can say, we got Hayes locked up, we got Ryan Reynolds locked up. Now let's go get some pitching. And maybe the Pirates can start to build back to the days of McCutchen and Russell Martin and those guys when they made the playoffs, and it was just an amazing place to play. Let's get back to that, Pittsburgh. And it's been proven by your Padres, Kratz, with all the money they're spending. Small market teams, as they so-called small market teams, have money to spend if they want to spend it.
And spend it. They have to. I guess the hang-up might be the 4th year. Yeah, he wants an opt-out. Like, just do it. Just because.
If he opts out, who cares?
Yeah, exactly. And with your audio, or are we going no video now too?
No, I'm here. I'm back. I was trying to do something fancy during the show, which I just don't advise at home. Anyway, here's my thing with Reynolds. So I'm going to give you one take in favor of the team, one take in favor of the player. If I'm signing a guy and committing $100+ million, and I'm giving and there are a few players that pull that off, but for him, if I'm giving him an opt-out after year 4, it's less intriguing, and that's where I think the holdup is right now. Otherwise, this would be done on the Pirates side. On the other side, for me, if I'm Brian Reynolds and you've been shopping me all off season and you're telling teams I'm the next big thing and you're asking for the world, and I've played for multiple years already, I think I'm worth more than that contract. So I actually think it's fair and they should do the damn deal, the Pirates. I think they're being cheap as shit as usual. My thing with them is, otherwise he's a free agent after the 2025 season. Yeah, you would get him, and then you're buying 2 free agent years out if he does opt out. So you still get him, I think, through your age 32 season. So I agree. I think it's a good deal. I think if the Pirates don't want to have some type of opt-out in there, then you need to pay him more. Like I think this is actually a good deal for Pittsburgh. So I'm cool with it too.
You have to pay more. Scott, you have to pay more to get rid of opt-outs. That's just the way it works. Look at the guys like Carlos Correa and even Trevor Bauer. When they sign their deals with opt-outs, if you're not going to give them the opt-out, you have to give them more guaranteed money, because the reason you have an opt-out is you can hit the free agent market again and make that money up. So, yes, absolutely. If you don't give them the opt-out, then it goes from 106 to like 120, 130, because there is no way for the player to get what he thinks he can make in free agent years.
And I think that's advantageous for the Pirates. Like, they're constantly like, no, we're not going to pay. No, we're not going to pay. And if a guy wants the opt-out, unless he's, you front-loaded the contract for some reason, like, I think, hey, give him the opt-out. That's fine. Because that gives you an out. If he plays really well, you've got him for 4 years of him doing really well. You got some free agent years, but you're not willing to go higher. Like, I think it's super ironic that his deal is 106.75, and we're going to have Andres Jimenez on later. His is for 106. So Brian Reynolds has done much more than Andres Jimenez in the big leagues so far. So to me, if these numbers are true and what's being reported are true, if I were the Pirates, I'd be like, all right, we'll take that. We'll take the opt-out. You can always extend them later if all of a sudden you're like, hey, you know what we're going to do? We're going to start spending, which they won't, but I think it's a great deal.
Kratzy, also, let's not forget, they can trade him if he gets to the 4th year and they're still like, we don't want to pay him. He's more tradable. Look at Nolan Arenado. He's more tradable because teams know he's locked in at this deal. And if he comes to, let's say, I'm just using Arenado, he goes to St. Louis, right? And he loves it wherever he ends up, then he might not opt out. So this is advantageous to both sides. Reynolds gets $106 million. The Pirates get a franchise guy they can look at for the next, at least they know for 4 years, and say, hey, Pirate fans, we spend some money, now come out and watch us play.
Yeah, it's 4 years. You still got him for 4 years. And if you're not going to be good in that time window, what are we doing? Like, you're rebuilding forever?
We're being the Pirates. We're being the Pirates.
We're being the Pirates. Even for comparison's sake, like, they did get Key Brian Hayes done. So that's 8 years, $70 million through the 2029 season. They did that a year ago. It was opening day of last year. That was with less than 2 years of service time. First off, better player and more accomplished player right now, it's no question. It's Brian Reynolds, especially when you look at the bat. Key Brian Hayes is a nice glove, but the bat hasn't really done a ton yet. And he's much deeper into his career already, and you paid for that because you had Hayes on league minimum contracts for the next couple years as part of that deal. So in my mind, it's very clear cut and simple. Pirates, you're getting a damn bargain, so give up the opt-out. In my mind, I think they're just looking at it like, well, we're committing 100+, like we got to get them wrapped up that whole time. Sorry, that's just not how it works. So he had a good game too last night. Couple homers, no big deal. Other milestones that I want to get to, Yordan Álvarez hit his 100th career home run, a little nod to the crowd when they put it up on the board too. And he said, my thought was at the moment, okay, cool, I tied the game there. And then I didn't notice it until I looked up at the scoreboard and it said home run 100. It's cool. Do players recognize that stuff? Or are they really, or if you're that good, you're just like, oh, cool, I hit 100 homers.
He knew. He knew he was on 99. Elvis Andrus is on 1,999 hits, and he knows he's like 0 for 14 since he got to 1999. So trust me, when I was at 1999, I understood it, and I told the story on the air last night or yesterday at the White Sox game that I was at home and I was trying to get to 2,000 hits because my family was there, and I went like 0 for 10 because I was swinging at everything, having terrible at bats because I wanted to do it in front of them. And then we went to Boston, and I got the hit. Nobody cared. We didn't even put on the big screen at Fenway or anything. It was just like only people that knew it were my teammates. So you want to do it in front of people, and Yordan Álvarez did it, and you know those milestones. When you get to 99 home runs, and there's a big round number at the end, trust me, you know they're coming.
I always wonder because I didn't hit anywhere close to 100 homers. In the minor leagues, I have 100 homers, but like – I always wonder, like, at what point do you forget who you hit home runs off of? Like, I pretty much remember all 31 guys that I hit home runs off of. Well, not 31. I have a couple multi guys. But I feel like he got there so fast, maybe he didn't realize it. Like, you have a ticker. Like, I remember doing radio last year. On the side of the info sheet, they have, like, all the milestones that are coming up. And to see – I feel like you have to have seen it at some point. Like 99, but he may not have. I mean, he did it, and he did what, fifth fastest in MLB history.
Somebody in the Astros media had to have said something like, "Hey, that was your 99th home run." I guarantee that somebody said something, or a teammate even was like, "Hey, your next home run is number 100." Altuve, he's not doing anything with his broken thumb right now. He probably went up to him and said, "Hey, puppy, one more, and you hit 100." You know, like. I guarantee you there's something said from somebody in the Astros organization. And every milestone you get closer to, people start coming up to you and asking you about it. What's it mean? If you hit a home run, you're going to be the 5th fastest in history. You telling me somebody in the Astros media didn't go up to him and ask him that question? Because that's a big deal.
That's a good point.
So you think he's lying?
No, I think he's downplaying it.
Oh, okay.
You always say, "Oh, I didn't know. I had no idea." Yeah, you know. Trust me. You know everything.
I didn't realize this is the famous when you don't have anything else to ask because you're like on TV and have to be boring. Like, when did you realize that you had the no-hitter? And then they're like, in the 9th inning, I like wasn't really paying attention, and then I looked around. Like, no freaking way.
Hey, is that your Zoolander impersonation? By the way,
that was good. That was good. Look at me, yeah, I'm bronze.
Magnum.
Well, when you're that amazing, you just don't even realize that you have a no-hitter going until, I don't know, the 9th inning or the last pitch there. Anyway, this guy definitely knew about his first homer, Bryce Terang, and we're going to talk to Brandon Woodruff, his teammate, about it in a sec. First big league dinger, grand slam in the 5th. He was a fantasy baseball monster yesterday, too. Homer, walk, 4 ribbies on the homer, obviously, 2 runs, stolen base. 4th player in franchise history to hit a grand slam for his first career home run. He's a top 5 prospect in the Brewers system. And Kratzy, I mean, Brewers are pretty much consistently playoff relevant every year, which is not always easy to do. I would say the division's pretty weak, so that helps. But this is not like a big money spending team. So they've done a really nice job at developing guys. But there was a lull in their system for a little bit where I think part of it was they made so many trades to keep themselves competitive. Now they've got prospects again. They've got some hitters. Joey Wiemer, who just got called up too. Terang's going to be playing all over the place. Like there's some fresh life for the offense.
I think they built around 17. They started filling in around the prospects that they had. Big Woo was one of them. Burnsy, those guys coming up through. And, they filled in with Yelly and Lo Cain, and they had Domingo Santana already. But a guy like Terang and Wiemer, I feel like what the Brewers do really good, and I think this is a testament to Craig Counsell and Pat Murphy on the bench and Hookie as a pitching coach. The guys they call up, they do a really good job of putting them in situations to succeed. Does it work all the time? No. I don't think they have the same minor league system as like the Rays, where they just have a plethora. I just feel like the Brewers have, if the Rays have 10 prospects in the wings, the Brewers have like 4. But if you hit on 3 of those 4, that's a much better percentage than hitting on 6 of the 10. You know what I mean? And so it's like there is so many. They don't have a super deep system, but the guys they do bring up, they trust them, and Counsell puts them in great situations to succeed. And I think it's part of their analytic department too. Todd's not on here to argue the whole analytic stuff, but I think it's something that it's important when you bring a new guy up. Like, hey, this guy has to be able to be in a position to succeed, and Bryce is. He's impressive. I liked him when he was 19 years old and I saw him in camp. Skinny, powerful, fast guy that is very confident. He has the confidence of a first rounder, and I love it.
I love his swing. What I saw yesterday, I just love his swing.
Wait till
Christian Yelich. It reminded me of Christian Yelich when Christian Yelich was like the MVP guy, where he dropped down, he squatted, and then he just kind of uncoiled. It was very similar to me to that Christian Yelich swing.
Let's get a breakdown right now, though, and also wait till you see Jackson Churio in the Brewers system. He is a dude. But anyway, all right, Kratzy, there's going to be a day somewhere where I'm not here, so you're going to be running point with AJ. Why don't you bring in your boy? And also, I call him Woody. Is there a more eloquent nickname that I heard right before?
I mean, Big Woo. I mean, this guy is an absolute specimen. The red beard is incredible. I mean, Big Woo from the SIP is on the show right now. Big Woo, welcome in.
Man, thank you guys. A little nervous, you know. I got Kyler in the background screaming. I'm having to put her in the basement. I'm trying not to mess up this show. So, no, thanks for having me. It's cool. I think this is a cool thing you guys are doing, and I'm proud to come on the show.
Brandon, first of all, Scott's already messed up the show today, so don't worry about it. Anything you do or your daughter do is not going to do anything compared to what Scott already did. So just relax and be fine.
I got
my audio went out for a whopping 10 seconds, and I'm never going to hear the end of it.
Yeah.
All right, so Woody, hey, and right back at you. We appreciate having you on. It's been awesome doing this. We're live every day talking to players, and also there's a lot to that, right? This isn't just some weekly podcast, but the reason we're doing this every day, it's freaking baseball. There's games every day. Perfect timing to have you on. We just were talking about it, where someone like Bryce Terang has his debut, hits a granny, fans there, everyone's going nuts. You have an awesome vantage point. Give us the inside word from the clubhouse on what that looked like for you and what everyone was saying. What's this guy like?
I mean, like Kratzy kind of just mentioned, this guy's a dude, man. Just being around him, he's a 23-year-old, but he acts like he's 35 and he's got 10 years in the big leagues. Like, that's the way he carries himself. And he's always been like that. And just seeing how in spring training, watching him play, and then, Counsell let him know that he was making the opening day roster, and kind of seeing how happy he was. And I actually went out and had dinner with him the day he found out that he had made the club. So we did a lot of talking about what to expect and kind of, those first day jitters, and you're getting to go to a pretty cool ballpark in Wrigley Field, and just seeing how calm he is, man. I don't know what he's like on the inside, but just the way he goes about his business, and his at-bats have been unbelievable the first 4 games, and it's pretty cool to watch. And he's having some pro takes. He's taking some good swings, and defensively, if you watch him, he's pretty daggone special too. So we got a lot of young guys on the team, and Joey and Garrett Mitchell and Terang come to mind, and I know we got Frelick that's down in Nashville too, but. These guys are good ball players, man, and our system and the way we try to put guys in the right position to help them succeed and is pretty cool. And I kind of, at the time when I was coming up, I didn't realize really what was going on with how they were doing things, but they do everything for a reason. But he's been special.
Big Woo. We're gonna go from 123. He's almost 24. Wait, did you pay for dinner when you guys went out?
I paid for his dinner. So we did a little thing in spring. Counts kind of wanted us to. He paired us together, and it just so happened me and Bryce got paired together to go have dinner. So of course, man, I paid for his breakfast one morning. He didn't even know it at Cracker Barrel during spring. You know, I just I'm sitting across the way, and I just pick up his tab and walk out, and he has no idea who paid for his food. Yeah, I like doing that stuff. So I actually paid for a fan that was a couple. They had just gotten in, and they see me. You know, I go into Cracker Barrel and I say, hey, you know, just for one, I'm sitting there waiting in the little store area, and the guy walks up and he said, Woody? I said, yeah. He's like, oh my gosh. He's like, we just flew in. He's like, we're seeing you at Cracker Barrel. I was like, yeah, I'm just getting some breakfast before I headed to the field. And, so I see them walk in. They got their Brewers hoodie on. They're coming to the game and stuff. And I called the waiter over. I'm like, hey, I was like, you see the people with the Brewers hoodies on? I was like, bring their check to me. I'm gonna take care of them today. So they, I don't know what their reaction was, but they came to the ballpark later that day, and I didn't end up seeing them. But you know, I try to take opportunities like that and try to make somebody's day.
That's a big thing in Milwaukee. Like, you guys are always picking up drinks. You guys are always picking, and I think it makes for an environment that is awesome and super unique. And to me, it brings the fan base tighter, around the team. Do you feel that?
Oh gosh, you go out anywhere in Milwaukee, and you know they have the Bucks and they have us, and of course they got Green Bay a couple hours up the road. But man, they love their Brewers baseball and their Brewers players. So anytime you go out, you're it doesn't matter who you are on the team, you're getting recognized, and people. It's a lot like back home for me. We're a smaller city, but you know, kind of some of the same values as back home. I think that's why I fit in so well here. And it's not, this is not a huge place. You can get 10, 15 minutes outside of downtown and feel like you're back in the country. So they really gravitate to all their players and their sports here, and it's pretty cool.
I love that, and we should see more of that too. And I think last year, I think it was opening day, Corbin just went to a random bar and was like, yo, the whole tab's on me. So I've got this master plan, especially because it's Brew Crew Town. It's like, if you guys win a World Series, then maybe it's a little player, but also like owner side, they just go, yo, one day for like 2-3 hours, it's like free booze, and you know, you need to make sure you soak up the alcohol or something. So maybe like free booze and chicken tenders at like 20 different bars.
Oh, they'll burn this place down if we win the World Series. And Kratzy knows well. In 18, going on that run, this place was it was pretty electric, and it was like that yesterday too. Our home opener, and Train hitting the grand slam, and places going nuts. They're giving out little cowbells, so I feel like I'm back at Mississippi State, and it's just going. It's going crazy. Roof closed. We had a flyover with the roof closed yesterday. We kind of had it all. So, no, this place would go nuts if we won the World Series.
Now, I gotta transition from Brewers fans to Turang making his debut to you making your debut. Now, we have a video here of your day. This is my guy out there, you know, walking around, trying to get ready for his big league debut in St. Louis. And don't tell us what happens, but please watch at the end and then explain to us what happened.
Oh.
Fair?
Okay. I'll take you through it. So debuts, man. My dad was actually filming that, and the two people who were walking down the stairs, that was my old preacher back home and his son, and we live 4.5 hours from St. Louis. So I had a ton of folks from back home that had come in, and I just got called up from Colorado Springs, high altitude, and I get back down to sea level here in St. Louis. And it was a doubleheader day, and it was like 98 degrees. I was going to throw the first game. I'm getting ready. Of course, the whole thing's a blur. Like, I'm warming up. I don't even remember how to stretch. It's like I'm just going through the whole day, and it's like you just kind of are trying to get to that moment. You know, you're filling out all the 40-man stuff to get your insurance and get all this, and then baseball is kind of the last thing on your mind, and then you finally start getting warmed up and realize, all right, I got to go out here and try to pitch, and I'm getting warmed up. Everything's feeling good. You know, lungs are great. I just come from Colorado Springs, and I get out and I'm doing my leg stretches, and I get to that second set of stretches you saw there, and I get to the bottom, and I just thought my hip dislocated. I'd never pulled anything. I'd never done anything. So it was like a weird. I can't really describe it, but it just, you could feel the tension just kind of get greater and greater and greater. Then it's just like, whoop, it just pulled apart. So I'm standing there and I'm thinking to myself, I'm like, no way I just pulled my hamstring, going down into a stretch. So I hit the old, let me hit a couple stretches here, whatever. And then I tried to bend down and touch my toes, and I get about halfway, and I'm talking about from the back of my knee to the top of my butt, just on fire. And right then I knew, like, oh my God, I just pulled my hamstring, like, stretching. So then I go, DJ, who was our pitching coach at the time, I'm like, I so nonchalant, just walk up and I'm like, DJ, man, I just pulled my hamstring. And the look on his face, I'll never forget it. The look on his face, and he's like, hold on. He's like, you sure? He's like, you sure it's not a cramp? And I'm like, no. I said, I can't move, man. I said, I just pulled my hamstring stretching. And so Jet Bandy, who you're very familiar with, dude's hilarious. He told this story probably a dozen times in the next spring training, and he overshot some of the stuff, but DJ, just what we walked back in, man, and you talking about a demoralizing feeling, just walking back into the dugout. And I wasn't even in big league camp that year, so I didn't even really know the guys. Like, I walk into a clubhouse and Ryan Braun's sitting there. Matt Garza was the veteran, pitcher at the time. And I just thought, like, everything's running through your mind. I'm laying on that training room table, and I'm like, oh my God, this really just happened. Like, I just ruined my opportunity. And I sat there and sobbed for probably the first 2 innings, and then somebody walked in. They're like, hey, get everything wrapped up, and then just, go out and sit on the bench and watch the game. So you want to talk about this a kick in the balls? It was like, here, get your groin wrapped up. You just pulled, but you're going to go sit down on the bench in 98 degree, 100 degree weather and watch this doubleheader that you were supposed to be pitching in the first game. So I had it all that day, but so that's my unofficial first debut story.
I'm sure Matt Garza, having played with Matt Garza, I'm sure he didn't say anything to you either.
Dude, I don't even know what I walked straight in. We're in St. Louis, went straight into that little training room and laid on that table. And I mean, people were coming and patting me on the back, and I don't even really remember what happened. I just remember a voice saying, hey man, we're going to wrap this up, and after you do treatment, just go out there and sit on the bench. So I didn't even sit on the top step. I was like sitting back in the dugout. I didn't even want to be seen, but I went out there. So.
That was nice. It's a good teammate, though. It's a good teammate. So, Brandon, I'm dealing with these Northerners on this show. Yeah. So I have to teach them how to say Florida, right? Because they all go, Florida. I'm going down to Florida for the winter. So can you teach him, being from Mississippi, can you teach him how to say Mississippi?
Oh, gosh. I'm just Mississippi. Just nice and slow. The key is to be slow with it. Like, you got to have that little Southern drawl about it, but just Mississippi, nothing crazy.
There you
got to be
so,
slow. That's key.
So you went to Mississippi State, right? Starkville. Yep. It's not Starkville. It's Starkville. Right?
Starkville, yeah.
My daughter's going there to play volleyball. So
didn't know that.
Yeah, so it's kind of cool. What the heck? Do you keep up with the baseball team?
Yeah. Yes, I do.
What is happening?
It's, man, I tell you what, I don't really know what's going on the inside, and I think now that you have, your daughter's going to college, it's a lot of stuff is a lot of the stuff they do, and I don't know this for sure, but a lot of the stuff's done over the internet, man. Like, a lot of the stuff they're getting these with the new NIL stuff, they're getting endorsements, and they're going out there and getting their butts kicked and throwing up an Instagram post about, hey, get your 15% off if you use this code. And I'm like, it's just it's a different time, it's a different age, but it's I just feel like it's all about how can I impress the camera even though I may just gave up a 3-run shot and I strike out a guy, and I just gave up 5 runs in this inning, but I just gave out a good yell and I look good on the TV and the camera for the social media post. I feel like that's a lot of it is going that way instead of just going out there and having fun and playing the game hard. And that's from the team I saw 2 years ago that won that national championship. They had a bunch of dudes like that, and sometimes they say that can be the worst thing for you is to win a national championship, and you think you can do that every year, but that's not how the game of baseball works. You gotta go out and earn it again. So I think that's kind of what we're seeing with that group is just, and it's hard to say that, and that's just kind of being real. And I love that. That's my school. I grew up, bleeding maroon and white. So that's tough to say, but I think that's exactly what's going on, man. It's tough.
Two more things on Mississippi State. Is there a better place to play than the Dude ever? There's no better place, right? And with the apartments, and then have you seen the 2-arm pitcher guy they have?
Oh gosh, I haven't seen him up close and personal. I've seen him. Of course, I've seen him on the internet, just talking about it. But Brewers actually drafted him, I think, in like the 11th round, and he turned it down or whatever. They knew, he was going to go to college. But bar none, best place to play in college baseball. I still, to this day, talk to a lot of the fans. We used to have a host parent program when we were there, so we had a kind of like a host family we'd go eat with, and they actually had a place out in right field, and now it's all concrete in. When I was there, it was these homemade built basically stands and out of buses and anything you could think of, and now they've completely put $60-70 million renovation. Its place is it's a miniature big league stadium. So I go down there and throw a bullpen about once every off season, and they've got everything you want. It's pretty cool.
Do you have a condo?
I do not. I wish I would have bought one about 4 or 5 years ago, right after Dak came. When I was in school, when Dak was there, we were there at the same time. The football team was at number 1. And that place just started to grow a lot from then. I'm talking
about the condos they have in left field. I'm talking about the condos.
Those things are expensive, man. I tell you
what,
I don't
big money.
And I'm not down there during the season, so maybe when I'm done, I'll go down there and watch some games. I got some buddies that go and sit out in left field, and they send pictures and videos all the time. It's pretty cool.
Big Woo, I know you got the red hair. Everybody thinks you got anger issues.
Here's the mistake part. Let me stop you. I don't have red hair. I got a red beard. I got brown hair.
No, you got red hair. You're an absolute CT. Carrot top. You and Justin Turner, you're twins.
Oh, come on.
Except you have full head of hair and he doesn't.
That's right.
The Anthony Rendon thing. Did you see that? Did you see the video of that?
I briefly saw it. I did.
You ever get in a situation like that?
I mean, I've definitely been yelled at and called some names warming up. I can attest to that the other day at Wrigley Field. I mean, it's just, you know what? And you can say this. We're basically. I mean, you can kind of describe it as kind of like zoo animals, man. We're in this cage, and they can just do whatever they want to us. And I don't know exactly what happened with that or what he said or whatnot, but I just kind of saw I guess the fan had said something to him, and he was saying something back to him. But I mean, we're basically just fair game out there. So I guess he must have said something pretty bad for him to lash back out.
I assume so. Hey, now that your buddy Suitor B's gone, who's the new Suitor B on the team? I know you. Did you cry when the Raptor got traded?
Well, you know what? I actually moved into the house that he was living in for the past 2 years. So
you're an absolute. You just went right in and snaked his place.
So Corey Knable owned the house when he was here, and he's been renting it out to it was Suitor, and then I just kind of swooped in right after Suitor. So I'm trying to keep his memory alive, man. That's one of my favorite guys. But Let me see. I think I tell you, a beautiful person is Gus Varland, who is another rookie who just was on the opening day roster. He's a reliever for us, and this guy, man, very very similar and very nasty stuff, and he's definitely a guy to keep your eye on. And he closed the game out the other day and at Wrigley, and this guy's got some good stuff, but very 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 similar.
I've got one for you on one of your star teammates in the rotation, Freddie Peralta, who's going to be a regular with us as well, who has one of the best laughs, I think, or giggles, whatever you want to call it. He's just like full of laughs and personality. What did you think of his start against the Mets? 6 shutout, looked dominant. We know stuff-wise he's got it all, 7 Ks. So 2 parts here. First off, when I was watching, is the slider sweeping more? So did he change shit a little bit? Because, I mean, he's already great, but he's got a new nickname, which we'll get to in a sec.
He started doing that. I believe it was last year, or it might have been 21. He started getting more into that slider, and that's the analytical stuff now is so prevalent that you can get into a lot of stuff. But he found that pitch, and it just really worked for him. And now he's got it pretty down, man. And watching Freddie, I love Freddie to death. A lot of us have come up to the system together. We've been together for so long now. He looked unbelievable yesterday. I know last year he had his arm injuries. He was on the IL for a little bit, a couple different stints, and he just couldn't get it going. And you know what? He still pitched well, and he didn't even have all of his best stuff. So that kind of tells you the pitcher that he is. And just sitting in the dugout, he just had a kid. He just had a little Freddie Jr. like 2 or 3 days ago, and goes out 6 shutty. And if we weren't up so big, he probably very well could have got through 7, 8 innings easy. And the guy just has unbelievable stuff. If he really wanted to, as you saw it was 2018 when he had his debut, that dude threw like 90-something pitches and like 90 fastballs and punched out 13 dudes. That's the type of fastball he has, and he can really just pitch with that. Now he's got 2 or 3 more weapons, and just a great human being. Great pitcher, but even better person. And he had a memorable home opener, so it was pretty fun to watch.
Do you like the nickname Full Menu Freddie? We sold it to him. He bought it, but it has not caught on yet in Milwaukee. I think we need to put the clip back out for the world because it was right in the thick of the World Baseball Classic, so no one was paying attention to anything besides Trout and Ohtani.
See, I don't know. I haven't heard the Full Menu Freddie. I just know Fastball Freddie, and that's what I know him by. So,
but he didn't want that anymore.
Yeah.
See, I haven't heard that nickname. So, I just know him by Fastball Freddie, and that's it.
But Woody, he can't do that anymore. He's got more than one pitch. That was when he was 93% fastballs, and so we told him, like, dude, you need to elevate your brand. You're not a one-pitch guy. He's no one-pitch wonder. Like, he's got the menu now.
I got you. Well, you know what? When I see him at the field today, when I go in, I'm going to ask him about it, and we'll talk about that. So I'll encourage him.
We were talking about his whole repertoire. And AJ came up with it, or maybe it was Scott. I'm not sure who had the site here. Okay, so AJ said it was him.
No. Sorry, the pen went the wrong way.
Oh, the pen went the wrong way. So Scotty said Full Menu Freddie, and Freddie goes, "Oh, okay, I like that. Because then we asked him. We were trying to get anything to get Freddie to laugh because his laugh is infectious. Like it's that laugh that you get like Kyler to get when she's gonna pee her pants. You're laughing her.
Yes.
You're making her laugh that hard.
Yes.
But we got him. We were trying to get him to laugh, and I said, "Who's the best pitcher on the Brewers pitching staff?" And Scotty said, "Oh, well, Freddie, it's got to be you." And Freddie goes, "I don't know." He said, "I'm probably going to be in trouble for saying this." He goes, "But I like Big Woo."
Man, I tell you what, we've got a lot of great pitchers on our team, and obviously we've got a Cy Young winner. I think Freddie, from watching him in spring and watching his bullpens, this guy's got some really special stuff. And you know what? We got Erik Lauer, we got Hauser, who's on the injured list now. Who we've been together for so long, man. We push each other in a good way, and it's fun, and I don't think anybody really looks at like I'm the best. I think it's just whoever's pitching that day is like, you know what, I'm the guy. Let's go out and try to lead this team and just try to have a good day and help win a baseball game. And you know what, if we do good, we do good. If not, we just keep on trucking and try to see where we're at the end of the year. But you know, and now we've got Wade Miley back with us, who, you know, Kratzy is just the man. And I think he helps us out in so many different ways. It's crazy. So.
You might have. I mean, if we did we'll do it one day, like top personalities kind of team. Brewers are up there. Rowdy is ridiculous. So we might have.
Rowdy, you got to be on the inside to see that. I'm not gonna pump him up.
Yeah, but you need rated R too when you're doing a show with him.
That's true. Well, you got it from him.
We got it exactly. Hey, Woody, this was awesome, man. Great to have you on. Yeah, it was quiet as can be. So wherever you're set up, Brent Suter's media setup right there is perfect.
Yeah, well, this is just the kitchen table on my iPad, and the family's down in the basement playing. So no, it's good, man. I enjoyed it. This is something pretty cool, and we can kind of come on here and just chat it up about life and anything. Doesn't have to be about baseball, but no, this is fun.
Exactly. Oh, we got plenty to get to down the road too. So, Woody, thanks again, man. Good luck the next couple weeks till we get you back on. All right.
Yeah. Cool. Thank you, guys.
Cheers. Awesome. No, I love that, and it's great to hear that too. You know, on the players' side. Like,
by the way, when I asked him about Mississippi State, if y'all have not seen a game at Duty Noble, the stadium in Mississippi State, they have 11,000 season tickets they sell. 11 for college baseball now. 11,000 tickets. The whole outfield is grills with just smoke and everything going. I mean, they get 16, 17,000. They have condos out in left field, literally condominiums. I think they have 16 of them, and they're building 16 more because the demand for them is so high. I mean, it is insane what he's talking about.
Andres Jimenez is coming on in like 2 minutes, but quick, just to get clarification, because I felt on the outside of one of those parts there, AJ. What is the deal with Mississippi State baseball? Are they not playing well? What were you?
No, they're off to a terrible start this year. They won the national championship 2 years ago, and first national championship in school history in any sport. I'm talking about any sport, team-wise. And then last year they struggled. They were under 500, and this year they're barely hanging on at around 500. So they went from the top of the mountain, kind of like what Brandon said, to now they're really struggling. And like he said, he goes, sometimes it ain't the best thing when you win a national championship. And I know they're trying, but it's just weird how you look at Ole Miss. Ole Miss won last year, and in the SEC they started out 0-6, right? I mean, it went Mississippi State, Ole Miss, and they're both at one point I think 0-6 in the SEC. So I mean, it's crazy.
It was funny. He was saying almost like they're all influencers or something.
Yeah,
like,
because
hey, get my discount code, okay?
That was funny. Because think again, Mississippi State is a baseball school. It's probably one of the few schools that's baseball first. I don't know how many you can name out there that are baseball first. And so they get NIL money like crazy. And to, like you said, to do, hey, come to, Starkville Chipotle and get 15% off because, tell them whoever sent you. And that's a real thing.
All right, now announcing our next guest, and I would like to give him a very special entrance, given the news that we received about a week ago. Let's bring him in so the world can see him. One of the regulars on Foul Territory with an absolute swaggy little zip-up going there, too, from Team Venezuela, which is the last time we spoke with him. Clap it up for Andrés Giménez, baseball's newest $100 million man. Amazing. Let's go. Andres, great to have you back on. Congratulations. Hey, on the season starting, but let's just focus for one moment because it's life. We need to reflect on this stuff, on the big contract that you signed with the Guardians. How you feeling about it?
Oh, man, what's up? Nice to see you guys again. Obviously, really happy for me and my family. Obviously, happy to be on the team. Happy to be part of the organization and part of the project.
Part of the organization, you're now like, you and Jose Ramirez are like the face of the organization. You signed a $100 million contract. You're one of the faces of the organization. So, what was the thing you went out? You said I signed for $100 million. We always ask people this: what'd you get? What'd you buy?
Nothing yet. Being honest with you, nothing yet. I'm just gonna wait maybe after the season. Now I'm focusing, on the team, playing the game the right way. And like you say, Jose is the face of the organization. Doesn't matter who gets the money. Just Jose is the face of the organization.
What are you gonna buy? What do you want to buy? Because you could buy anything now.
Yeah, I will say a house. I will get a house for my mom. Yeah.
Love
That's
that.
good
So did you
answer.
celebrate though? Did you have a night? Because you've had a really busy past few weeks. Okay, we spoke to you. I think it was the morning before your first or second game for Team Venezuela, and we'll get to
Yeah.
that in a moment too, because you guys had a really fun run and played in maybe the game of the Classic, if not top 2 or 3 against Team USA. And you come back to spring training, also with the new rules. You're going back to that mix, and then you sign the contract extension, and the season starts.
Being honest with you, I didn't have the chance to enjoy it with my family yet, because I was in spring training. My family was at home, and we don't have the time to celebrate yet. Maybe Tuesday we do it. We had an off day, and my whole family is going to Cleveland, so that's gonna be the first time that I'm gonna see them and celebrate with them.
Andres, I was at the USA Venezuela game in Miami. I'm sorry to bring back bad memories for you. It was an unbelievable game, one of the greatest games I've ever seen in my life because of the crowd. And I was in the middle of Venezuela. Where I was sitting, I mean, it was all Venezuela people around me. What were they chanting every time a Venezuelan pitcher would get 2 strikes, and they would yell like, "Oh," at the batter, the USA batter. What are they saying?
Oh yeah, ponche,
Oh, punch it.
ponche.
See, I told you it was
Yeah,
Ponche.
Okay.
yeah,
The
that's a
whole
strikeout.
the whole crowd would stand up and say, "Ponche, ponche,"
Yeah,
and then
that's a strikeout. That's a normal thing in winnable in Venezuela. So when they get 2 strikes on the hitter, they start to yelling at him and the umpire. So they put a lot of pressure on the umpire.
that had to be the craziest atmosphere you've ever been in, right? That game with both
Oh yeah,
sides, the
yeah.
crowd, everyone.
Especially for me because it was my first time playing with my country, representing my country, and in another country, and see all those flags on the stands and cheering for you. That was a special moment, and I will never forget that moment.
Primero, tú eres cara guapo y Jose Ramirez is cara feo. So you got to remember that. I said you're the good-looking face of Cleveland. He's the ugly face. What are you guys looking to do this year? Do you think you have a team to win the World Series?
I think we are in the same page than last year. Obviously, the chemistry in the clubhouse is just special. We have a young group of guys that we want to get better every single day. So I think that's the most important. Go every day to the ballpark, try to be on the same page, everything, play the game the right way, and let's see if good things happens. Last year, we did a tremendous job getting in the off season, but we feel like this year it can be special, but we just have to control what we can control.
Have you made fun of Jose yet for swinging and falling down twice already this year on the sliders where he swings and he falls over?
No, I didn't yet because if that happened with me, I'm not be that happy.
Yeah, but as a teammate, you got to say, Jose, what the hell are you swinging at? Those balls are behind you. You're swinging at them and you're falling over onto your face.
Yeah, I don't know, but they made a great pitches, so.
Oh, come on. You got it, Jose. You should go in there today and say, Jose, I just saw the video. I rewatched the video of you falling down and it gave me a laugh. So you gotta say something. That would make it worth it. When you did your contract,
I will try.
When you did your contract, can you explain how it came quick? Did it come quick? Was this a long-term discussions of an extension, or was it fast?
No, it was a long time. I will say of the whole spring training, even the WBC, and when that thing happens, it comes to the last days of spring training. and we decide with my family, my agent, myself, that we want to do it, and we want to be part of this.
Andres, to take people inside how that goes down, are you like texting your agent where they're like, uh, 88, and they're like, nah, we'll wait. Like, or is it always a phone call, or is there some texting going on about how it's all going down? You know, because you're busy too. You've got games going on, which is why for me it's always crazy when a player's going through that during a regular season. I know a lot of guys say, hey, after spring training, like we got to talk in the off season. So, are you texting like back and forth on what the latest is?
Uh, Not especially like agent and I, we have a lot of mutual respect. He was like kind of respect my time, and if I was doing my routine or I was going to the game, try to respect that. And maybe at the end of the day we had a phone call, or even in the morning right before the workout, and try to we made our phone calls because better. Sometimes we lose a little time texting, but we usually have phone calls. Try to be in the same page and try to be communicated as well.
¿Es estresante? Is it stressful?
Estresante.
Es estresante.
Yeah, obviously give you a little anxious because you're talking about your future, you're talking about your the money obviously and the security for your family. So it's a little anxious, but you have to control that. And when you go to the ballpark or you go into your workout or to the game, you just have to be present and focus on what are you doing at the moment, and the things that you can't control, just leave it out of the game.
Andres, I like to look at big moments and celebrating them and reflecting on how you got to that point. And without going from like, and we'll do this at times anyway, like childhood and how you fell in love with the game and getting drafted or getting signed, I should say, and everything else. Let's fast forward to a trade, blockbuster deal. It's Lindor and Carrasco to the Mets, Jimenez and Rosario and some prospects moving over to Cleveland. Do you send a bottle of wine or a text to Lindor and go, hey, I'm glad this all happened and that I ended up here in this situation, opportunity to shine, starting second baseman at the All-Star game. You know what I'm saying? Like things all land into a place where you're, thriving both on the field and off the field.
First of all, I have the opportunity to meet Lindor on the WBC, and we talk a little bit about what was going on, what just happened. That's part of the game. But yeah, I'm very thankful, to be in this organization and give me the opportunity to shine, to do my job, to help the team to win. And yeah, I mean, everything happened for a reason. So I understand what was going on at the moment, and then try to take advantage of the opportunities and work hard, even harder now. Try to help the team and bring the trophy home.
What did Lindor say? Like, did you guys both go, hey, this worked out pretty good for both of us. We're enjoying life with our new teams.
No, we didn't talk about it. It was my first time meeting him, and I was like, he's a funny guy. He always had a smile on his face, and we were just joking, and we had we shared the same assistant hitting coach here that we here in Cleveland. So we were joking about him and making fun of him. But it was a great time in the WBC. I had the opportunity to meet him, and he's a great guy, man.
¿Quién personas en tu vida para hablar de estos momentos? Who's somebody that you're, in these moments you can talk to about? Like talk about contracts besides your agent and like talk about, hey, I'm feeling stressful. Who are those people in your life?
Obviously, I have a small circle. I don't like to share about a lot my thoughts, but obviously my wife, my mom, and also my brother, my youngest brother. He's the guy like I talk every single day and how I feeling, how I'm doing this, how I'm doing that, and try to be honest with him and share what I'm feeling or what I'm thinking. And he helped me a lot during the season.
Andres, you guys have got off to a great start. The Guardians, 4-1. You go into Seattle, who's a playoff team probably. You take care of business there. You win your first game in Oakland. You hit a home run off Diego Castillo, your second hardest home run you ever hit. But two things that stood out to me. One, the double play you turned in Seattle. That was incredible. You slid across. Was Rosario like, get out of my way? Because you basically knocked him out of the way, slid, came back and turned the double play. And then you broke your glove on a throw from the catcher. Is that right? Like the catcher was throwing it too hard and it snapped your glove. Us catchers, now that helps us catchers feel good about ourselves. We throw it to the second baseman. I say, yeah, I need a new guante.
Yeah, man. I think he throw hard and break my glove. I have to change it, and the trainer he made a tremendous job changing the little teams quickly because that's my gamer, that's my glove, and it's not the same confidence that you have when you have a new glove and you have the glove that you've been using the whole year. So he did a tremendous job, and with the double play, I don't know, it's just intense. I don't know how to explain that. I have the opportunity first to catch the ball because it was a tough bounce, and I wasn't sure that I catch it. And then the first reaction was make the out at second, and then I see the chance to get Julio and first because he was flying down the line. I had the chance and the luck to make a good throw and make the out. And with the home run, I don't know, man. Diego is tough. I love movement. I love velocity. And I don't know, man. I just put the barrel on the ball.
Yeah, but was Rosario like, hey, man, let me get some love. Let me get some assists. Let me get my numbers up so I can try to win a Gold Glove like you. Guys get mad about that stuff. You straight cut him off on the slide, right? You went right in front of him, and then there was no flip. And Rosario was kind of like, why am I here? Because it was such a sick play. So it was awesome.
No, we talk a lot about it. We have a great communication, especially with the balls over there. Like, I'm going that way, you're going that way, because we don't want to go, right straight to the other. But what's those kind of things that we talk even before the play, and it worked perfectly.
Hey, give me a little more on Rosario. I think this is something that's unknown about him. It gets talked about with Ramirez, and he's been in the league longer. But it's all out hustle every time, right? Running out every ground ball, setting the example for everyone, just hustling everywhere at all times, always on time. And I've heard the same thing about Rosario. Does that convert even to normal life? Like, is he hustling out of the car, like getting into the clubhouse? Like, are they kind of always on a mission like that, or they just turn it on when they hit the field?
No, I think they turn when they hit the field. You know, it's special, man, to play with those guys. Every time they're hustle, every time they looking for the extra base, they're looking for the mistake of the infield, and it's fun, man. It's fun to play in a team like that, especially if I hit in 6 or 7, you have 6 guys right in front of you that they do something special, even running the bases or hitting or taking a great at bat, and it's special, man. It give you clear example of how the game is has to play, in the right way, and that's clear for us. We have to play the game in our way, and good things are gonna happen.
Hey, Andres, awesome catching up. Congrats again on the contract, and keep kicking ass on the field with the squad. And we'll talk to you in a few weeks, okay?
All right, thank you, guys.
Appreciate you. Andres Giménez of the Cleveland Guardians joining us. And also, Kratz, I know you're going to jump soon because you're coaching some high school baseball, right?
Big game today. Big game down at Calvary Christian Academy down in Philadelphia. So gotta miss the bus already, so I gotta drive myself there.
Oh shit. All right.
Oh no. Oh no, you're gonna have to drive your fancy car all the way somewhere. Sorry.
Instead of riding on the cheese. Nobody needs to ride on the cheese.
Wait.
When
You
you're
guys
full
have
grown.
a yellow school bus? You guys take the yellow school bus?
Yeah, we have a dirt infield. We don't have turf with the coach buses like you have. That would we'd make one road trip and that would be it.
Well, that's okay.
Well, we don't want you to be any later, Kratzy, so let's do our locks real quick. Our locks of the day presented by BetMGM. Please, first off, how did Monday go? For the podcast crowd that's only listening, we did have a tough day as a unit. AJ going with the Astros run line 2 or more. The Tigers finally played baseball. Todd picked Toronto to win against KC at home with Brady Singer. I warned him. That did not go well. Kratzy, you want to give the quick rundown of Seattle?
Yeah, Seattle. I'm not Todd. I should have listened to Todd and not listened to the analytics. Shohei, I got Shohei for sure.
You got Shohei? Yeah, you got Seattle run line, which was plus 145. Would have been a nice dub, and you were hot. I went with the Rays run line, which it just felt safe. The Nationals are terrible. I like Rasmussen a lot. I think it was 6-2, whatever it was. So run line hit easy, no big deal. So stay hot. Let's see how we do today. I'm 3-0, baby. Let's go. We'll look at the totals of where we're at, both win-loss and cash-wise on tomorrow's show. But Kratzy, run through your pick, and then you can literally jump right from there.
Yeah, I mean, my pick's super easy. I'm going plus 125 run line with the Cubs at minus 1.5. He says, AJ says no. I like to.
No,
read
I just could never
language.
pick the Cubs to win, so that's it. It doesn't matter.
Okay, that's fair.
It doesn't.
But I got kind of scolded because I was putting 200 down on the other days. So I only went 50 today to let everybody get back in the game. I didn't. But a nice MGM promotion, a little odds boost today. I don't know if you guys saw that on your app, but I got the odds boost in there. So it took my 125 up to plus 181. Thank you, MGM, for appreciate that. So
you're only throwing down 50. You're not going a hundo.
Well, I mean, I was going 200 before, and then I kind of got a little. Well, we were going 100. And
no, you can do whatever you want. That's what we decided for the most part. It's just we're keeping receipts, which is not what most people do when they're placing their bets and then giving advice online. We're being accountable here. You can do a hundo if you feel it. I've just been doing a hundo a day. You're feeling a little. You want to hit the brakes a little bit today?
I didn't want to, but I did. I already put it in, so I put it in at 50. I'm fine with that. And if we're being honest, does AJ get an 0 for 2 yesterday because he said no, he doesn't? Okay,
one lock,
just one lock.
One lock
Not
per
locks.
day. Yeah, and we have other tips. Later, we're going to go over the Braves game with Dodd making his debut with Collazo. But no, one lock. That's what we keep track of.
Scared money don't make money, Kratz, and you're scared right now.
I got scared out of it. I was running the highest, and then we'll wait for tomorrow. We'll be back.
You'll be back. You'll bounce back. Go get out of here while AJ gives his pick. I know you got to jump. So, Kratzy, good stuff as always. We'll see you for Wednesday.
Appreciate you, boys.
Later, dude. AJ, you take over. What do you got for tonight? What's your lock? How are you going to rebound?
Overruns. Phillies, Yankees, 8.5. That's a low number for me. Phillies offense needs to wake up. They will eventually in Yankee Stadium. Domingo Germán feels like a good matchup. And I think Bailey Falter on the other side for the Phillies pitching in Yankee Stadium. Just feel like that has a recipe for being a lot of runs scored tonight. And again, the Phillies offense, where have you been? The pitching hasn't been great either, but the offense is the thing that carried them, and where has it been?
I like that. I'm going to tell that. Okay.
Just because it's a small number. Now, if it would have been 10 but 8.5, that's 5-4. I think they're not going to. The Yankees, Domingo Germán, Bailey Falter aren't going to score 5 and 4 runs. It just seems like maybe, but you know better than I do, Scott. Vegas.
No, I'm feeling. I understand what you're saying. I mean, that's got I was even thinking that might be 9-6 all over it. That has potential for a high scoring affair. Also, offense in my mind, and Vegas is quick to adjust, and MGM is quick, obviously, with their odds to adjust. But the one trend I'm looking at early on is what does it mean when you have more stolen bases, more base hits, batting average on balls in play is up significantly? What does that mean? This is a real basic question. What would that usually lead to?
Runs.
Right.
Overs.
So keep an eye on that. And then for me,
I'm throwing 100. What is it? I think it's minus 125. What was the over under?
Whatever you're doing to win 100, right?
Yeah,
I think
it
we
was
have
minus
it.
125.
Can we show it? Yeah, I think you're putting down at 125 to win a hundo.
Yeah, that should. Yeah. Oh, 120.
There it is.
Sorry.
120 to win a hundo.
Yeah.
And then there's mine. I'm going Blue Jays. Run line. Bounce back. They lost against KC. They're not going to lose 2 in a row. In my mind, offense is going to explode against Chris Bubich. Had a really rough year last year. Yusei Kikuchi had a terrible year last year. I mean, he was absolutely annihilated, almost on a start-by-start basis until he lost his starting role. I think stuff-wise, he's always had it. And he's kind of got a new pitch in spring training. I watched at least one, if not two, starts in spring training, and I was like, that's a different pitcher. So if that converts over to KC, and I actually called a game, I believe it was last year. I think it was like his worst start. He didn't even get out of the first inning. I think there's like this whole redemption story going. I think he's going to shove tonight, and I think the Blue Jays are going to win easy in this one.
That's what I thought about the Astros yesterday, and look what happened to me. They lost an extra.
That's life.
So here's the bad thing about the new extra inning rule. I was watching the Astros and the Tigers last night, and they tied it up in the ninth, so I get all excited, and then they have first and second and 2 outs, and I'm like, I forget who was up, and I'm like, yes, please hit a home run, and I'll cover, and I'll win, and I can rub it in Scott and Eric's face tomorrow. And then it goes to extra innings, and you're thinking, well, there's really no way they can win by 2 unless a guy hits a walk-off homer, or they tie the game, and then the guy hits a walk-off. So it's crazy because of the new run rule, how it could affect your wagers in the future.
You're saying because in extras you get a guy on second, so a knock scores a run. But
yes.
But then what's the difference between that and if we went to extras and dude gets a double or dude gets on and he scores?
It's much easier to score 1 run when the guy starts on second base. Plus the other team, let's not forget, the other team gets a chance. So the Tigers start with a runner on second. Say they score their 1 run. Even if the first guy hits a 2-run bomb, I still lose my wager. So I think the 1.5 is an interesting run line to put out there that goes to extra innings. It's a smart, but it makes it tough because, getting to that second run in extra innings is tough.
That's why you're paying for that, Like for me, and I don't remember what it was, but it's probably like minus 170 or something tonight if I'm just going straight up. So sometimes you got to go run line, or it's just not really worth what you're throwing down. You know what I'm saying?
Plus, I just thought the Astros would beat the Tigers they bludgeoned them, and Tigers came out and scored some runs.
That's how the run line gets you. So like tonight, if I just went Blue Jays money line, it's minus 175. No thanks. It's too steep for me.
Okay.
I think better chance I'll put my money down on them win by 2. Anyway, bet 10, win 200, still flowing. How to get the offer? Sign up and deposit at least $10 into your newly created account. Download the BetMGM Sportsbook app on iOS or Android. Place a pregame moneyline wager of at least $10 on any MLB team at standard odds price. You'll get $200 in bonus bets instantly when you use the bonus code SPICYBALL200. Always bet responsibly. Gambling problem or concern, call 1-800-GAMBLER. And we're going to talk to Carlos Collazo in, I think, less than 10 minutes about one other component that I want to bring to the mix for us is debuts. So the Atlanta Braves seem to send out multiple, I would say, successful rookie starters on a yearly basis, and sometimes they're not always the biggest names. Of course, someone like Spencer Strider has turned into an absolute stud pretty much from the jump. But tonight, we do have a debut of an Atlanta Braves starter who's cracking the rotation. So interested to hear kind of his take on Dylan Dodd and what he's going to bring to the table. So we'll get that, and we'll get some other prospect talk going with him as well. Also, I want to make sure I'm checking the app. It's going super slow with my Wi-Fi. That didn't mess up the name. Yeah, Dylan. For some reason, I had Dustin in my head, but I was like, go Dylan, go Dylan. Anyway, so we'll talk to him pretty soon. And also, we're going to play a little game coming up shortly for the first time here.
I'm very nervous about this game.
Well, it's trivia related. Did you watch or listen to Ken Rosenthal's Fair Territory made its debut yesterday, Monday night, and he plays a number of games, including one called Fair or Foul. See, that's a game you and I would sign up for because the answer is whatever the hell he says the answer is. Like, for example, it was, hey, are the White Sox for real, fair or foul? This is more trivia oriented.
Wait, what did he say to that?
He said fair.
Okay.
Yeah.
Although yesterday
he was asked about the Tigers too, and Claudia was running point on that segment, and he said they suck. And then there was one other team that he was asked about. I'm forgetting. But anyway, this is trivia oriented. So I will say I'm not great at trivia in general. I'm terrible at way back trivia because usually I'll just play the whole I wasn't born, I don't know. This is very recent current trivia, but this is small sample size trivia where we played 5 seconds of games. And unless you're like locked into a stats page, like a baseball reference or something, and you're like nerding out and studying like which team is leading in certain categories, and you're like, you know, you and me watch games every day. Eventually, if you ask me a question like we're going to go through, I'd be able to answer it for you based on watching games. Like, right? Like, which team, you know, which are some of the better offenses? Which teams are stealing bases? But it's so damn early in the season. It's going to be tough to play this game. So,
No, I look forward to it. I look forward to looking like a fool.
me too. Are we ready to do this?
We're doing the game?
Are we playing ball here before we get to Carlos? So the game is called Name That Team. Oh, Carlos is ready. Sorry. See, we'll get to that right after Carlos. Baseball America's Carlos Collazo joining us right now. I've had the pleasure of working with him the last few years on the draft. Does an amazing job on draft coverage, repping VA. Carlos, how you doing? And I like the backdrop there too. Already getting nice and prepped for draft time.
Absolutely. Thanks for having me, guys. I'm excited to be here. Yeah, the draft it's in full swing on my end. It's really a year-round coverage event for me, so I'm constantly into it, but it's been really cool to see the major leaguers get going as well. That's obviously what we're most excited about, so it's been fun to see that too.
Hey, so I know AJ's excited to ask you about draft stuff. We're going to save that for the second portion of the conversation. So two things we want to cover is some prospect debuts, but let's actually start with a debut that's going down tonight. Dylan Dodd is making his debut for the Atlanta Braves, and AJ and I were talking earlier about how Atlanta seems to send out some pitching prospects that are interesting on a yearly basis now. Some of them highly touted, some not. There's been some injuries in the rotation, right, with Fried, and Kyle Wright's hurt right now. So what are we getting with Dodd? I know he had a really nice spring training.
Yeah, Dodd is a really impressive player. I think for the Braves, especially, you kind of mentioned it. Anytime they draft a pitcher or take a pitcher, at this point, I'm just assuming he's going to be better than what we expect him to be. They do such an excellent job with their pitching development, and they just pump these guys out consistently. Dodd is a player who got a lot of really positive reviews from the Braves internally last year when I was working on their prospect handbook chapter. He wasn't the most famous name in the system, and obviously their farm system has thinned out quite a bit with some of the prominent graduations they've had. But one of the first things I heard about Dodd was just how impressive his strike throwing was. He's a guy who does an excellent job establishing the fastball for a strike, really allows that to set up the rest of his arsenal. There are players in this organization that have more explosive pure stuff, that have nastier secondaries, but he might be the best pure command pitcher in the organization. And because of that, I was told, don't be surprised if he kind of breaks camp with the big league team next year. And we're seeing his debut today, which is exciting. He was not necessarily a terribly under-the-radar player coming out of college, but he was older. The COVID year gave him another year of eligibility, so he was treated as kind of a senior sign. He signed under slot during the draft, and the Braves actually put a lot of that money towards A.J. Smith-Shawver, who is one of those players who has elite stuff. But I think Dodd is going to bring just very good strike throwing on the mound, very good poise, and 3 solid pitches in a fastball, slider, and changeup.
So, and we're betting folks here too, AJ and I. If we're watching this game, and I'm just looking at the line because I like to see what Sam GM's got on Atlanta and St. Louis here. I mean, the Cardinals are favored. They're minus 140. I'm not trying. I know that's not your job. I'm not trying to tell you to predict the world here, but really just for us to get some clues on what you'd expect from someone like him tonight. Do you think this is a guy that will have, from a personality standpoint, any jitters, or he's gone through the spring training run just now? And also, do you think Atlanta would have a chance of making some noise tonight against St. Louis?
Yeah, I guess Atlanta at any point can probably make noise against any team in the game. In terms of Dodd specifically, I haven't gotten the sense that he's this sort of uber confident pitcher that Spencer Strider is. Not to say that he's not confident in what he has. He just seems a little bit quieter than some other pitchers in the system that really exude confidence from a lot of the people that I've talked to within the system. And I think one of the biggest questions with Dodd, which he proved last year, was how does that stuff that he has play against upper level hitters? He struck out more batters than I think most people expected in AA. And in AAA, his spring training was excellent. I think it was 80% strikes this spring training. So he's going to put the ball in the zone. But it's just a question of, is this stuff going to play immediately when he reaches this big league level? It's a very good Cardinals lineup. There are a lot of really impressive hitters, obviously, in this group. So it wouldn't shock me if maybe he got hit around a little bit. But at the same time, I think he's a guy who has enough confidence in his stuff that he's also going to be able to pitch backwards and use his slider and his changeup in counts that maybe you don't always expect a rookie to do that at the big league level. That's probably a long way of saying I don't know. It wouldn't shock me either way. But I think he belongs here. So I'm not sure. I would probably, I guess, lean towards the Cardinals just because it is going to be the debut for Dodd, and maybe the nerves get to him, and maybe he has a few pitches where he tries to put a little bit too perfect, and then you're kind of in the middle of the plate, and things could tumble. But I'm curious to see what happens.
Good contact hitting team too in the St. Louis Cardinals, so that doesn't always help the cause there. So yeah, I'm leaning towards the St. Louis direction, AJ.
So, Carlos, you're saying that he hopefully will not pull his hamstring like Brandon Woodruff did in his debut, like he just told us about. And I love your command comment. He doesn't have elite stuff. Command can win over elite stuff a lot of times, even against contact teams like the Cardinals. So I like that you said he has great command, because that tells me that he won't be nervous. He's used to putting the ball where he wants. Everyone's nervous in their big league debut, but maybe because he's not a power guy, his command will come through and help carrying him through some innings. So there's your betting tip.
Yeah.
Scott.
Okay, I still don't feel super confident about it, to be honest, AJ.
Okay.
I'm just saying, like, that's why I just wanted to get the breakdown. So
Understood.
I'm going to lean a little St. Louis. I also think Steven Matz, stuff-wise, he's an injury risk sometimes, but I think he's going to have it.
Carlos.
Yeah.
We not only with Dodd, but we saw Terang hit the grand slam.
Oh,
Who are the prospects you were looking at that have either made their debut this year or will be making their debut rather quickly in the next month or so that we should be looking at?
Well, Terang has been a fun one since you mentioned him. I mean, he's been explosive. I think we all expected him. Another one where, again, kind of the hitting comparison to Dodd, where the tools were never super explosive. He's not the most physical player in the world. The power was always a question with him in terms of what's the weakest part of his game, but he was always just a super advanced hitter, had a great feel for the defensive side. I think he could play shortstop if there was a need on that team. I think he has the ability to be a plus defensive second baseman. He's a great runner, has played some center field as well. So he just does a lot of things really nicely at the big league level. It doesn't seem like the environment has phased him at all. That doesn't surprise me, kind of knowing Terang going back to, I think 2018 was his draft year. He's kind of always been very highly regarded. But seeing him turn on that home run, I'm curious about his power. I mentioned that being the biggest question mark for him. Last year, he had his best year in terms of power production. Now it's mostly to the pull side. And if you look at him, he's always been kind of a lean, more slender player. But I do wonder if he just has such an advanced approach and is able to barrel up the ball just enough to get to that 10 to 15 home run range at the big league level. Maybe he surprises people with the pop, and he certainly has the speed to take advantage of these new rules at the big league level. So he's one that you mentioned just right off the bat that I've been really impressed with. So that's the first one I'd point to. Another shortstop that I was really excited to see, who's already made his debut, is Anthony Volpe. Another guy going back to his high school days, was very highly regarded. And it is another player who I think at the time out of high school, he was seen as kind of this solid tools across the board, but really polished overall game kind of leads him to help those tools play up. And very quickly in the minor leagues, it seemed like he got stronger, he got faster, the power jumped. And he's been really exciting to watch just on the bases. I don't know that he's fully gotten it going with the swing like Bryce has so far, but watching him steal bases has been a blast. And it's fun to see the rookie shortstop for the Yankees there as well. So a couple middle infielders who have been a lot of fun to watch in the early days.
Carlos, question for you about some teams and where they're at from a prospect perspective. So I was still high on Cleveland going into this season, not just based on what they did last year, but based on what's still to come for them. I think many people don't realize, it's a top 5 farm system in the game. So, and we just had Andres Jimenez on, who they locked up long term. Ramirez is going to be there for a long time. The pitching last year was outstanding for them, and I know they got to get through the Tristan McKenzie injury, but still, solid rotation, bullpen lights out, and there's so much more coming. So I wanted to get your thoughts on Cleveland, and I got one other team for you.
Yeah, Cleveland, I think they're undoubtedly a top 5 farm system in the game. I believe we have them number 3 right now. They might even be number 2. I'm not exactly sure where we have them. But what stands out about their system is just the incredible depth they have. They have like typically when we're ranking the top 30 prospects, once you get kind of halfway down that list in the 10 to 15 range, there's quite a significant drop off just in terms of talent or the confidence that you can have in the projected roles of these players at the big league level. With Cleveland, you just keep going down their list, and it doesn't really fall off too much. They have an excellent track record of developing arms. I like the fact that they have an infusion of really exciting upside and tools, and Chase DeLauder, getting him in the first round this past year was really exciting. I feel like he was a player who, if he hadn't gotten injured, he had a foot injury with James Madison that maybe pushed him down boards a little bit, but they haven't really targeted players with this profile, and maybe it's simply because they've been picking in the back of the first round, so they don't have access to players like DeLauder, who has outstanding raw power and has just shocking speed for the size. He's like 6'5", looks like a corner outfielder, but he's like 6'5", looks like a corner outfielder, but has played center field and played it pretty well. So them getting a hitter like this, who has also a pretty strong track record of contact ability and approach, and he doesn't chase out of the zone too often. It's a smaller school guy, so there are questions with that. He still is battling back from some injuries, so hopefully he can get healthy and make his pro debut at the minors. But I'm really excited to see what they're able to do with a player like this, because a lot of the guys they've promoted and they've gotten to the big leagues are these contact-oriented. Obviously, they've done a great job taking command-oriented arms, adding a little bit of power, and they still have plenty of those players as well. Gavin Williams, I think, is going to be one of the best pitching prospects in the game. Daniel Espino is another one who has just tremendous stuff, and if we can get him healthy, I think he's got a chance to be one of the best young pitchers in the game as well. So they have no shortage of exciting players, and I think it's probably the deepest farm system in baseball right now, even if maybe you prefer some other clubs' tops compared to theirs.
Wow. And one more for you, which we've been talking about quite a bit, and because we had Woodruff on and we were talking about Terang earlier, Milwaukee. Because for a while, I think on the other end, I don't know if people realized how thin their farm system was. I mean, they were towards the bottom in terms of rankings, which really hurt them. You really weren't seeing much coming up for them, especially on offense. And it's been a team that has had that as the problem for the last several seasons. If you look at the rotation, you're like, this rotation can win a World Series. At one point, you said that about the bullpen. It's gotten a little weaker, of course, as they traded away a guy like Hader last year. But here comes some offense, and it's not just Terang. It's Joey Wiemer getting called up, and then Jackson Chourio might be my favorite prospect in baseball right now. So what do you think about the Brewers farm system as a whole right now, and are you bullish on their future and then making more noise in the Central based on some of these guys who are, and Sal Frelick, who are going to be an impact player, or at least most of these guys impact players this year?
Yeah, absolutely. They've got a ton of guys. Maybe Chourio, we have to wait a little bit longer on him, but it shouldn't surprise anyone if he becomes the number one prospect in baseball, just given that are upcoming with players like Gunnar Henderson and Corbin Carroll. But you're right. I think the Brewers are another team that has established a pretty good reputation as being a team that can develop pitching. The hitting is the question mark, but they've got a lot of really exciting, toolsy, skilled players at the top here. We mentioned Bryce Terang earlier. He entered the year as our number 4 prospect in this system, just very polished all around. Garrett Mitchell is maybe one of the more toolsy players in the organization. I think him and Joey Wiemer could probably battle it out just in terms of raw tools, but Garrett Mitchell is the top of the scale runner. Garrett Mitchell is fascinating to me because if he can elevate the ball a little bit more consistently, this is always kind of been the question mark with him. He has tremendous raw power. He's a really strong kid. He's got bat speed, but he's always put the ball on the ground a little bit more than scouts really wanted to see. Last year in the big leagues, he hit the ball on the ground less frequently than he had in the minors and had a really great stint. If he can kind of keep doing that, I think that's exciting. Joey Wiemer, him getting brought up, I think he maybe has the biggest question mark in terms of just the pure hit tool. With him, the swing has always been a little bit funky. I don't know if you guys have been able to see him much yet, but there's a lot of moving parts in the swing. He earned some Hunter Pence comps because of that when he was an amateur player. But just looking at the physicality, the tool set, he's got a massive arm. He threw out.
I don't know. I think we lost him. AJ, you hear him?
No, I think we lost his audio.
You got me?
Oh,
Now
we're
we
back.
Sorry, how long was I gone? Sorry about that, guys.
5 seconds.
Yeah.
Okay. No, I was saying with Joey Weimer, you maybe have questions about his pure hitting ability, but he's got tremendous power. He's got tremendous arm strength. You saw him throw out Daniel Vogelbach the other day trying to stretch a single to a double. I know Vogelbach isn't the fastest guy in the world, but just how quick he was able to get to that ball row shows you what he can do on the defensive side. And then Sal Frelick, he's got a great bat, great pure hitting ability. He's really a spark plug kind of player. He's fast. He's fun to watch. He's a gamer. He's a multi-sport athlete. So they have a lot of really exciting players who are either making their debuts, kind of making their mark on the big league team now, or will in the near future. And a lot of these guys are up the middle types. I think all of these outfielders we talked about can play center field. So if you've got 3 center fielders running around the outfield, that's a pretty good problem to have.
Carlos, you talked about these prospects. Let's get to the draft this year.
Yeah.
So I've read your articles. The top 4 guys are 2 LSU guys, Dylan Cruz and Paul Skeens, and then Dolander from Tennessee and Langford from Florida.
Yep.
Who's going to go number 1? Why is the SEC so darn good and they have all the players? And is there a high school guy that can slide in there?
Yeah, good questions. I think, first of all, I think this draft class is probably one of the strongest that I've covered in my time at Baseball America. Now, that only goes back to 2018, so it's not the longest track record, but all of those guys you mentioned are outstanding. I had a chance to see 3 of the 4 last matched up, and maybe the biggest matchup in college baseball. I think if it didn't collide with MLB opening day, we've had even more eyeballs on it. But right now, we got BetMGM sponsoring the show here. So if you're a betting man, Dylan Cruz is probably the favorite to go 1-1. I think just his track record as a hitter, going back to his high school days, the combination of his pure hitting ability, his tools that he has. I mean, he's still hitting over 500. The college baseball season has been going on for quite a while now, and the fact that he's hitting over 500 is ludicrous. The standing adjustments at the plate, he's got power. He can run it down in the outfield. He's truly a 5-tool player. So I think the fact that he is a hitter probably gives him the edge in terms of being the favorite for 1-1. I think right now we have Wyatt Langford ranked number 2 and Paul Skeens ranked number 3. But I think right now, anyone, if you heard that Paul Skeens and Dylan Cruz are probably the favorites to go 1-2. And that would be the first time that a team has ever had 1-2 in the draft, which would be very cool. But Paul Skeens, I think, might be the best college pitching prospect that I've ever covered. I mean, he's averaging over 98 miles per hour with his fastball. Last week, he didn't touch 96 until the 5th inning. He's still sitting 99 in his 7th inning. He's started 7 games. Each game, he's gone at least 6 innings, has struck out at least 11 batters. He's simply been dominant. The slider has improved this year as well. It's 3+ pitches or better across the board. And he's a huge 6'6", 240-pound right-hander. There's really not a lot of question marks that scouts have with him. I mean, he just checks every box you have. Wyatt Langford, I think, probably gets a little underrated just because Dylan Cruz has been so good and he's been so famous for a long time. But Langford has a similar tool set to Cruz. He's similarly been productive in the SEC with Florida. He maybe is a better pure runner. He's been very good. I would expect him to be off the board very quickly. And then Chase Dolander, he entered the year as our consensus top college arm in the class, and I think Skeens has probably overtaken him. But he's another player who has a great track record. I think his command, the history of just how good he is as a command pitcher is one of the most impressive in the class. Another one with a fastball that's sitting 95, 96. He's had a good slider and a changeup and a curveball in the past. We're kind of just waiting for him to rediscover a bit of the sharpness that he showed last year that he hasn't quite found this year. But it's an excellent group of college players. And I think if you want to talk about some high school players to sneak in there, Max Clark and Walker Jenkins are 2 really toolsy, athletic high school outfielders that have a chance to kind of break into this group.
I love it.
So, Scott, there's a name I want.
Real quick, who you picking out of that? What did he sell you on?
Me? I'm taking Langford. I'm a Gator fan. Who the heck do you think I'm taking? Although Dylan Cruz is from Orlando, and I'm from Orlando, so it's kind of tough. I get it.
Yeah,
he's hitting over 500, which is insane.
But you can't base this shit on where they're from, AJ. Like, if you're a GM, your damn job's on the line. You got to pick the next freaking Trout, Harper.
All right, I'm giving you right now, Scotty. I'm giving you the pick of the year for 2024 draft. The number 1 overall pick, and I think I know who Carlos is going to say. Who's going to be the number 1 overall pick? The next Shohei Ohtani is Jack Caglione.
Jack Caglione.
Thank you. He's going to be the number 1 pick. And Scott, if you ain't seen this guy, look him up. He throws 100 from the left
Insane.
side, and he leads the league. It leads the country in home runs. So look him up.
From
He's
the left
American
side.
Ohtani is the tag he's gotten quite a bit lately. He's pretty tremendous. Left-handed pitcher, first base, outfield, tremendous power. I mean, maybe you could say he's been more impressive than Wyatt Langford, who we're talking about being a top 5 pick, and he's not draft eligible for another year. So I think that's a great call.
Is he from Orlando, AJ?
No, he's from Tampa.
Wow, a whole hour away. I'm down. I'm down to check out a game though. We should watch him pitch and
Let's
hit
go.
and all that. I would love to check that out.
And Langford, Carlos Langford, 2 years ago, nobody even talked about him.
Yeah,
He was
so I
kind
think
of he came out of nowhere, and he had a huge year
did.
last year. Now he's there.
I was looking back at the notes I had for Langford out of high school, and I really just had one conversation with a scout, and he was like, good hitter, not a great body. That was it. He didn't play his freshman year. I think he pinch hit a few times. And then last season, he tied the program record with 26 home runs and was like one of the best hitters overall in college baseball. Last summer, he performed with Team USA really well. So he certainly put himself on the map after getting to college. He did not come into Florida with the sort of fanfare that Dylan Cruz came into LSU with, but he's certainly neck and neck with him right now. It's been fun to watch.
This is a fun conversation, Carlos. We'd love to have you back on sometime. And obviously, when draft coverage heats up, we'll be all over that too. Draft is July 9th through 11th in Seattle. Carlos Collazo, lead draft writer for Baseball America. And also, I wanted to make sure I got this in there too, because I've listened and it's great. Co-host of the Future Projection podcast too. So I wanted to give that a good plug. Give us a quick rundown of what the latest episode has in there.
We're working on one this week. I think last week we touched on, I don't really remember. The days have kind of.
What do you got
gone
this?
together
What's
here.
coming up next?
This week we're talking a little Ethan Salas. He's been insane. The reviews we're getting from him are crazy. I know you guys talked to JJ last week and he broke down a little bit of Ethan Salas, but to hear about what a 16-year-old catcher has been doing in spring training and the sort of hands he has behind the plate, we're going to dig into him a little bit. But yeah, me and Ben Badler do that podcast. We talk pretty much nothing but prospects from the high school level to college to the minors and a little bit of big league talk as well. So that's been fun to do. And it's been fun to be on this show. Thank you guys for having me.
Yeah, it was awesome to have you, Carlos. We really spanned the globe here from debuts to the next Ohtani in 2 years and all of that. So thanks again, Carlos. We'll chat again soon, all right?
Yeah, thanks, guys. Take care.
Cheers. Carlos Collazo from Baseball America. And we'll go right into it, too, as quickly as possible. I was calling for Name That Team, a little trivia action, and then for Slap Hands, we'll go over a few more things from last night's games. So Name That Team is a trivia game that is going to be run by world-famous Claudia Olson. Here she is, our producer, superstar. And why don't you explain, Claudia, where this all came about and what we're about to get ourselves into and see who's dumber on the first week of the season, AJ or me?
Not dumber. What we're going to do, hold on, I'm hearing myself.
Less accurate, I would say. We both have almost no confidence, and I've been told, Claudia, that going forward, they're going to wait to even tell us what categories are so we don't cheat.
Yes.
I can wholeheartedly tell you that I did not look at a single thing. I don't even know what the questions are aside from one of the questions, so we're going to be terrible.
Yeah, the cheaters. I was nervous about the cheating, to be honest. I was not going to put the things down there, but I decided to. So fingers crossed you guys did not cheat. So, all right, let's rip it. So I'm going to give you a division and then the top of the charts for that division in a specific category. You guys have to guess. So based on the rundown, if you guys are also looking at it, and so Jeremy, I do not run through anything terribly. We're going to start with the full screen of the stolen base leaders. It's going to be empty, just teams 1 through 5. The top stolen base leader for those listening on podcasts has 11 stolen bases in the American League, followed by 8. And then it is 6 from teams 3, 4, and 5. Do you guys have any guesses? Do you already know?
This is the one I knew.
The top team's easy.
It's the Orioles because they stole 10 bases the first 2 games.
Fair.
So that one was easy. Now the rest of them, I'm
clueless.
I have no clue after that. I'm thinking.
Here's my thing, AJ. So yes, I agree because that was headline news, right? The Orioles stole 10 bases in a 2-game span. I'm actually surprised. Obviously, I've actually been trying to do this year, like lock in on 1 or 2 games at times and just really like watch a game full out based on the job nowadays. But I was actually surprised. I'm like, really? The Orioles? Now I'm like, only 11 if they racked up 10 in 2 games? Like they've slighted off their pace a little bit. So anyway, what else do we have here,
Okay.
AJ, in terms of guesses for these top 5?
I'm trying to think of teams that I've seen run a lot. American League stolen base leaders. I want to say the Guardians or maybe Team 2.
Okay. Do you want me to give you hints along the way or tell you if you're correct or wrong?
I have a question, just because this is so early in the season, there's just no chance here. Can we give you teams that are on the board? And if we at least get teams that are on the board, then like we get, a ding, ding, ding.
So you both said Baltimore, ding, ding, ding.
Okay.
And ding, ding, ding to Cleveland for Mr. AJ, saying that one. So yes, with the Guardians.
They're 2?
Any? What do you mean?
Are they 2 or are they just on the board?
They're number 2.
Oh,
wow.
8 stolen bases this season. We'll bring up the full board after. But you guys have to have one more guess before we go to the next option, which is going to be strikeout leaders in the NL. Think about
One more
maybe
team
like
that's racking
some
up bags
young
so far.
player
Tampa?
specifically.
Tampa?
Who's been... No.
Wait, keep
Maybe
going
like-
with this hint. What did you have?
Okay, a young player specifically who we just talked about, who
Volpe.
just broke a record.
Yankees, Volpe.
Good job,
There you go.
AJ. Yes.
Because he's
Volpe.
already stolen 3 or 4 bases.
Exactly, yes. He stole 3 bases in his first 3 games. So that is number 3. We could bring up the board. New York at 6, Seattle has 6, and so does Houston at 6. The New York one I thought wouldn't be too tough. Volpe's your guy, AJ,
I know, but when you think New York, you think Stanton hitting it over the batter's eye in center field and Judge hitting homers. You forget Volpe's down there swiping back. Now I should have known the Houston because I watched all the White Sox games and I watched them steal a bunch of bases, so I should have known that one. But like Scott said, though, the 11 only for Baltimore after having 10 in 2 games. What happened? They stopped running?
Yeah, what's going on here?
Yeah.
All right, what's next?
So next we're going to have, all right, so Jeremy said we have AL hits next ready. So that's what we're going to go to then. Whatever he has ready, we're going to pull to. So we're
AL hits. This is near impossible. So we just have to think of a team that's scoring a lot of runs.
So since I saw this, I did not cheat, but I've been thinking about this the whole show. And the only thing I can think of is I swear I did not cheat. I was not, because you just saw my guesses. My thing is, I watched the White Sox play their first 4 games in Houston. They had 12 hits a game, and they scored no runs. They left I think 47 guys on base the first 4 games. So I think they had 50 hits and 45 singles. So that's the only thing I can think of is the White Sox. And that's a homer pick.
Okay. All right. Do you have also one, Scott, or do you mean just say if he's right or wrong?
Well, I want to we're kind of doing a team approach here for this version, or at least that's what I'm deciding on the fly. So is AJ either A, right, or B, at least have one on the board when he says White Sox?
AJ is on the money with Chicago White Sox as the first team with 50 hit leaders, 50 hits for the leaderboard. Do you have any other options that you think would be the other 4 following choices?
Yeah, I was going to go Blue Jays. I mean, I think they had 42 hits in their first game.
They are on the board. Rangers, no. Toronto, yes. Do you think you would know which number they are based on anything else?
Man. I mean, this is how you can really prove we did not cheat. I appreciate I would say 46.
No, they are one of the 42s. But you know what? You still got Toronto, so nonetheless.
Rangers aren't on there? They scored 25 runs. They scored 40 runs in 4 games.
Listen, I'm pulling these statistics. I'm not making them myself.
I know.
I've got another one.
Okay.
I've got another guess, just again based on seeing some of their games, and I actually read something either last night or this morning where someone was like, "Is Fenway Park the new Coors Field? So are the Red Sox on the board?"
They sure indeed are. Yes, at the number 46 you thought Toronto was at, that is where the Boston Red Sox have 46 hits this season so far.
Boom.
So that's pretty good. All right, we can bring up the board, Jeremy, for the full American hit leader. So
we did pretty well.
Yeah, I agree. I'll read it for the podcasters. Chicago has 50, Cleveland has 47, Boston has 46, and Baltimore and Toronto are tied at 42. Pretty good, guys.
Yeah, and I actually, if you were putting the pressure on me, I wouldn't have necessarily gotten Cleveland, but Baltimore was going to be high on my list based on seeing some of their games and what their offense looks like, and Adley alone putting a show together in the first couple games while the Orioles pitching looks, especially starting pitching, they're not making the playoffs with that rotation.
I appreciate the no cheating. So
But no,
far.
the only reason. Well, listen, the only reason I guessed the White Sox is because obviously I watched the White Sox,
Right.
and I remember every game. And then I just was at the park yesterday, and I remember But I can't believe the Rangers. The Rangers scored how many runs the first game, and then they scored 16 in the game I did on Saturday. It was not like they didn't get. I mean, I know they maybe I don't know.
Not as much. I mean, yeah, the offense. They had 2 good games, and what most teams
Right.
played 4 or 5.
They
games
also played one less game because they had Friday off in a dome. Makes a lot of sense.
That's the key. That's where I'm expecting more out of you. Hawk Harrison said you're the smartest dude in baseball.
All right, last one we will do is National League strikeout leaders for the NL teams. We will have Team 1 with 49 strikeouts, Team 2 with 47, Team 3 45, and Team 4 and 5 are tied at 41 strikeouts. Any guesses? Some of
Key
these,
question
I think
here.
this one was pretty easy.
Is this
Yeah.
for clarification? Strikeout leaders, as in my pitching staff has X amount of strikeouts,
Yes, it was
or my
under the
offense?
yes, it was under the pitching staff that I took this from, like the pitching option. So,
Okay.
oh god, I'm using my hands too much already. So it's under the pitching. It's under the pitching option. So these are strikeouts per team. Once you see some of the teams, I think it will make sense. If that hint.
Yeah, which teams have swing and miss in the National League so far
Mets.
early on? What?
Mets.
Right. Mets are number 2, 47. Yep.
Okay. Who's had double-digit strikeout games too so far from a starting pitching side? I know. Well, that was on the Rays side, right? We saw. Oh, no. I was going to say maybe Freddie.
Who's
I'm-
played
I
5
also-
games? Who's played 5
Right.
games is the key for me.
Yeah.
Yes.
The Brewers have, right? The Brewers played
Brewers.
yesterday. Peralta had racked up some Ks between him and. Yeah,
Brewers
let's go.
did have a lot
Are the
there.
Brewers on the board?
The Brewers are not on the board. There is a sleeper team that like you probably wouldn't think of off the top of your head, but that sleeper team is ranked number 3. Not sleeper, I would
Rocky.
say.
It's
but,
got to
you
be
know.
the Rockies because they played 5 games.
No,
No.
but it's another team that people don't talk enough about. But they have
Cincinnati.
some
It's
really
100
good. No, no. But it's a
Let her
team
finish
that
her
has
damn
really,
sentence, dude. And to me too.
It's a team that has one of the best. One of their rookies just signed a really big deal. We just talked about him a few weeks ago. Does that help at all?
Rookies.
Rookie signed a big deal.
Braves. Strider.
That was last year.
In the West.
Padres have to be other. They played 5
Okay,
games.
Padres
They
are
gotta
number
be
1.
somewhere.
Yeah, 49.
Oh.
49 for the Padres. That's number 1. New
So-
York is number 2, 47.
If
Rookie is
we're
a-
in the West, so
You're in the West, 45 strikeouts. Literally, you guys, I think someone picked him as the rookie of the year. I'm pretty sure one of you did. Unless I wrote this down wrong, and now
Rookie
I'm
of the
like
year,
baffling
Rookie of the
myself.
year, National League.
I picked Corbin Carroll to win Rookie of the Year for the
Me too.
Diamondbacks.
Oh, the Senga. We said the Mets.
Arizona Diamondbacks are number
Oh.
45 strikeouts.
Yeah, but Carroll's a position player. I was supposed. You're saying just from that team?
Just from
He's
the
an outfielder.
team, I'm saying.
Oh, see,
I'm saying
yeah.
from the team, someone we just
Oh.
talked about to get your brain cooking, not
Mhm.
specifically on the pitcher side. We just talked about Corbin
Oh.
Carroll. All right, so Arizona 45, Chicago, and the Los Angeles.
Kershaw had a bunch of
41.
strikeouts in his.
Yeah, that's true. Right.
Right, exactly. So it's not,
Okay.
you guys were kind of on the money. Arizona threw you through a loop, and that's okay. Maybe my Corbin Carroll hint was not great. And you know what? We'll do better next time.
No,
No,
I
it's
knew what
good.
you were talking about. I was just like, but he's a position. I got what you're saying. Hey, think Arizona, and I wouldn't have gotten the D-backs. Like,
No.
you know what I'm saying? Just
Yes.
Because
I
Zach
admit
Allen
also
had a
I haven't
terrible
watched
start.
a ton of Arizona baseball yet.
And Zach
Right,
Allen
which
had a
is-
terrible start, so that makes you think like they didn't get a lot of strikeouts.
Yeah, Merrill Kelly's not like a big swing and miss guy. You know, I'm also thinking about guys that get swing and miss. But okay,
Right, which
okay.
is why maybe we got to start watching the Arizona Diamondbacks a little more often than we used to. You
You know what? Are they playing tonight?
AJ. AJ's like shaking his head no.
Depends who they're playing against.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're playing the Padres this afternoon.
Huh?
They're playing the Padres at 4:10 Eastern time. So I'll throw it on there because I think it's Darvish's debut too. So you got Darvish, Darvish and Gallen. Oh, I'm watching.
Oh yeah. But by the
Darvish
way,
and
just in case
Gallen.
you think we did cheat, that was bad. We were terrible, Scott.
Yeah.
I don't think we
But
were
it's the
terrible,
start.
actually. I think
No, I
I
don't.
think for the third category we were terrible, but that's a really tough category. For the first
Yeah.
two, I thought we were pretty good.
I think when we do this another month or so, just to like have the season more in depth of everything, I think it'll be a lot better guesses. But then I'll probably just try and make it harder for you guys. So
Different
Yeah.
categories, like you could go
Yes.
players, like
right. The players one I thought would be really tough, but if you guys are down for it, then we'll do players next time too. So
like in a month or two. I think if you
In a
do
month or
players,
two.
we might have a shot. So all right, cool. Thank you,
all right, you
Claudia.
guys can
awesome.
go do
Thank
slap
you.
hands, and then I'll talk to you guys
And
later.
see you later. All right, perfect. We got 5 minutes left. We're
Okay.
trying to be somewhat, but not completely playing by the rules. 1 to 3 Eastern time each day. Let's do a little slap hands action. First off, happy birthday to Hall of Famers. What do you got?
I'm trying to slap your hand on the.
Oh,
Screen.
slap.
Yeah, it goes the wrong way. See, there you go.
Yeah. There we go. I gotta admit, like, I feel pretty lonely here. I like doing the show amongst the people, you or Frage being right next to you. I feel like I can be a little more aggressive when I've got someone right next to me, but it worked out today. Happy birthday to Scott Rowland, Gil Hodges, and Tris Speaker. And we've got a couple clips that we want to, or pictures, whatever, that we want to show. Let us start with Vinny Pasquantino whenever he gets on base for the Kansas City Royals. Do you believe in Sasquatch, AJ?
No, but I believe in Pasquatch. That guy
Hell
walked on
yeah.
top of the Royals Hall of Fame. That's sweet. That's a cool celebration. The only thing I wonder is how many people see it at the stadium.
Yeah, but that's how you create a viral moment. And now, if I'm in KC, and this is serious, right? Like if I'm doing a KC game or I'm going out there to watch a ball game there, and I know about that and I catch that on social, and you know that's going to get more play and people are going to freak out as more people find out that exists. When I go to the game, it's going to be a thing. You're rooting for Pasquantino on base, so you can see a human being who's literally getting paid, and we're showing the video if you're listening on the pod. A human being is getting paid to dress up in a Sasquatch outfit just to walk for 10 seconds across towards the Royals Hall of Fame, deep in the outfield at the K at Kauffman Stadium in KC when Vinny Pasquantino gets on base. Like that is like the really literal promotion that I'm all about because I feel like that's going to get a cult following.
Wait, what do you mean a human dressed up? That's not a real Sasquatch?
That's why I asked you. I don't believe in Sasquatch.
Oh,
Do you?
Oh, I don't know. I've never seen one, but I've seen videos of one. So I don't know.
There might be one in your backyard. I mean, you've caught
I just saw one walking across the KC Hall of Fame.
Pasquatch. There might be a fan section for him. If Pasquantino ends up crushing this year, he might get his own fan section with the Pasquatch section. It's very
like
natural, organic promotion there. I like that a lot. And
That's
then
cool.
the other thing I wanted to show you was Masataka Yoshida apparently has a Macho Man Randy Savage nickname that he got from his days in Japan, and he's bringing it over. And he's got inflatable dumbbells. Let's go. That's part of the celebration for him when he hit his first big league dinger.
That is all. If you can't see the picture, you got to find it. But he's standing there with inflatable dumbbells over his head in the dugout, and everyone behind him, including Kike Hernandez, are going crazy. So good for you, man. The more fun. Let's have more fun in this game. Let's bring in props. Why not? I mean, it's not showing anybody up. It's in the dugout. So congratulations on your first homer, but more congratulations on the celebration.
I agree. I mean, that's freaking awesome. The Red Sox have been one of the most dominant home run celebration teams in the game for the last several years. The laundry cart, that was strong.
Yeah, but like the chains, the big chains, those are tired. Like let's get original, boys. Let's start over and come up with some original stuff. The Pasquatch, great. Inflatable dumbbells. Now, if he comes out with like the cowboy hat and like the beaded robe like Macho Man used to wear, and oh yeah, brother, then yeah, let's go.
A fun fact, as I'll be at Todd Frazier's again for the rest of the week, in his bathroom in the lab in the spot where we do the show, there's a 60-pound dumbbell just staring at you. Like when I'm like washing my hands and you look back and there's just a dumbbell in the bathroom. Something new. I've never seen a 60-pound dumbbell in a bathroom.
Is he curling while he uses the bathroom?
I don't know, and I've forgotten to bring it up on the air, but I'll bring it up on the stream if I can remember tomorrow to ask what the science is. Maybe I'm hoping it's just the innocent, like, oh, to keep the door open, 'cause whatever. But very interesting product placement in the bathroom. It, for me personally, it was kind of like the reminder of, did you work out today? Like, you know, the dumbbell staring at you, like, have we hung out this morning? No? Okay. Anyway. Military base of the day, Tinker Air Force Base, a major U.S. Air Force base with tenant U.S. Navy and other Department of Defense missions located in Oklahoma County, Oklahoma. We salute you. We appreciate you. The base, originally known as the Midwest Air Depot, is named in honor of Oklahoma native Major General Clarence Tinker, the first Native American Major General. Again, we salute you. We appreciate you. Not doing Kratz outs today. Kratz is going out dominating a ball game. There you go. Thank you very much. Your hat, we know what yours is. Actually, you know what? Can you show your hat for a second? Thank you. We are launching Foul Territory Shop. It'll be on foulterritoryshow.com. It's not ready yet, but we are, I believe, days away from hat, shirt, I think maybe hoodie, sticker, etc. orders flying off the shelves. So look out for that. Oh my gosh, it's 3 on the dot. Feeling really good. Play the music, please, so we can get out on a clean 2.
Wait, hold on. Before we go,
What?
You see my shirt? I wore it in honor of Todd Frazier. Yesterday when he said Indians, it's Indian Creek Golf Course in Miami. So I figured I'd keep the Indian theme going since Todd doesn't know they're the Guardians.
I've only corrected him 5 times. So, and I had to do it during the interview, too. Thanks to Guardians star Andres Jimenez. Brandon Woodruff was awesome. So was Carlos Collazo. Good luck on your bets tonight, AJ.
Jack Caglione, first overall pick, 2024, the American Shohei. You heard it here first.
Put your money down on it. See you Wednesday.